These grains of sand began their journey high atop the ancient mountain range that forms today's Appalachian Mountain system. The mountains once towered into the sky, possibly as high as the Himalaya Mountains. Time, weather, and gravity slowly wore down these towering giants. Each rock was broken from the tops of the mountains, tumbled down the slopes, and gradually fell into rivers. Each tumble, each fall, each sweep of the river current broke these rocks into finer and finer pieces, gradually forming sand. At one time in Florida's history, most of the peninsula lay under a shallow sea. Piles of sands began to build up, and as they formed, currents swept them down over what is today the Florida Peninsula. As sea levels rose and fell over time, eventually leveling out at today's sea levels, Florida coastlines became recognizable. Since that time, at the end of the last ice age, Florida's sands have been moving by wind and wave actions to form the beaches, dunes, and barrier islands that we all enjoy today. Dunes play an important role for the formation and protection of new land along Florida's coastlines. In this Google Earth time-lapse, showing every year between 1984 and 2020, we see Naples Beach south to the Gordon River Pass. These beaches have very low dunes between 1 and 3 feet high. As we watch the time-lapse, we see almost no change in the shape of the beach line. Moving south along Keewaydin Island, again we see very little change until we get to the southern tip of Keewaydin. Here, longshore currents deposit sand, and we can see the growth of the southern tip of Keewaydin as new beach sand is deposited. We can even see the swirling of sand as it passes Big Marco Pass on the northern end of Marco Island, until finally coming to rest on Tigertail Beach. In the 1960s, the beach at Tigertail was open to the Gulf of Mexico. A low sandbar lay just offshore. Gradually, as sand was moved along the beach and deposited here, the sandbar rose above the level of the Gulf of Mexico and became a beach itself. We can see the year-to-year progression of sands as they build up, forming low dunes along a new beach line. In some years, storm action breaks those dune lines open, forming shallow passes once again. Those passes quickly close, and over time, we can see that vegetation begins to take root. As sea oats and other dune grasses and vines take hold, the dunes stabilize. Mangroves begin to grow, and even hardwood trees begin to take root on the low inner transitional zone. Today, a lagoon has formed behind the Tigertail dunes. The beaches and sandbars continue to stretch northward, curling around the tip of Marco Island. Many people think that Tigertail Beach takes its name from this distinctive tail shape. It was actually named by the developers of Marco Island after Tigertail, a well-known Seminole leader. Florida's fragile dune systems are responsible for protecting the land interior to the dune. As seen here, 1 week after a tropical storm passed by 60 miles offshore, sand has been eroded, exposing the root systems of the sea oats above. These delicate plants are responsible for anchoring the sand and serve as a windbreak for sand blown by the wind. Whether you are visiting Florida for the first time or you're a lifelong resident of the Sunshine State, take the time to stop and appreciate a dune the next time you're at the beach. But remember, while it took 30 million years to build, a dune can be damaged or destroyed by a careless footstep in an instant. Picking dune plants for a souvenir exposes the entire dune system to greater damage during the next storm and is in fact prohibited by law in many locations. Enjoy the dunes the next time you're out. Be a defender of Florida's living storm wall protection systems, the dunes.